born with the knowing of how to assist others in healing. And about 20 years ago, I was sitting in my conference room at the real estate office where I was a broker. It was kind of a past life thing. And I was waiting in the conference room for one of our agents to come in who set a meeting with me. So I was just sitting there in the conference room looking at the windows up through the atrium and the garden and everything, and just kind of taking it easy and just enjoying the moment. And when my associate entered the room, I noticed she wasn't carrying any folders or any files or anything. So I kind of looked, and let's just say she's one of our more senior associates. She was in her probably late 70s. She looked like she was maybe in her late 50s. And she was very professional, well done and all, and not a single wrinkle for her age. And so she sat down across from me in this conference room, and she looked right at me and she said these words: "I'm here to give you the fundamentals so that you can assist others in healing." And up until this time, I would just kind of intuitively just kind of work on people and do things. And all of a sudden she would say, "No, let me give you the fundamentals. Let me explain to you the basis of what you're doing." And see, she was a master teacher. She was a phenomenal healer. She's the type of person that can move the weather. And so I started incorporating the fundamentals and kind of took my healing work to a different level. And then when I was speaking with her, and I said, "Well, you know, what else, this process that you walked me through, what else can it do?" And she goes, "Well, actually, you can work on anything for anyone at any time." Huh? What? She goes, "No, you don't understand that it will work for anything, for anyone at any time." So I'm sitting there thinking, and I said, "Well, what about wealth?" She goes, "No, it works on anything, for anyone at any time." So up until this point, I was doing okay. You know, financially, I hit like an asset of about over $1 million at age 28, and had this steady growth. And so then I started applying the same technique we're using in healing for my finances. The finances picked up at a rapid rate. You know, it started building at a rate where I was hitting about 7 figures every single year. I had a business partner. We started purchasing property. We had property up in New York. We had property down here in Florida. And one of our properties in 1996, we bought the Sunset Hotel, which is now the Crystal Bay Hotel at the corner of Park Street in Central. And we ran it as a senior vacation package where it's mainly for the snowbirds, and we mothballed it during the summer. And in 2004, we sold that property, holding the underlying financing. And in 2007, that owner sold it to another party, and still we held the first mortgage, the underlying first note. And what happened was that owner got a little ways through the process. What he wanted to do is make the hotel a boutique hotel. And he went in, he totally gutted the whole property. Did crazy things, took out floors, took out walls, all kinds of stuff. And he got about halfway through and he ran out of money. And so because we're in first position, we went ahead and foreclosed on him. And we got the property back. But my business partner at the time really didn't want to deal with it. He was getting up in age. He didn't want to put cash out on building up this thing. He didn't want to put any effort in. And I personally didn't want to put my own money in and my own effort and then share the gain with a partner who didn't put anything in. So we're kind of like at stalemates. And so what happened was it was my business partner's idea. He said, "Well, you know, let's split the properties. We own a ton of properties jointly." So he said, "You know, what if I take the New York properties and you take the Florida properties, including the Crystal Bay Hotel?" And so kind of on divine guidance, we did the math of the properties. And the value of the New York properties versus the Florida properties were very, very similar. In fact, it was so close there was no exchange of any money. And so we basically parted friends. And the moment we did that, I did something that was something I want to share with each and every one of you, something very powerful, something that I know if you just incorporate this one aspect into your life will change, and your view of doing business and expanding your business can change. And that's the idea of this. At that point, I said, I'm going to make God my partner. And you think about a universal law of possession says everything in the universe belongs to God. And I always say that it's God's hotel, show me what to do next. So I incorporated this idea of just saying, hey, God, you're my partner on this deal. And it's very powerful. Anytime I would be challenged by anyone, I said, well, you'll have to talk to my partner. And what happens is things start working out and things start coming together. And, if you think about it, with the power of God, what can't you achieve? And this task of putting back the Crystal Bay Hotel was challenging. We had a lot of people look at it, nobody went for it. And so I knew at the end, hey, I guess it's going to be me, and it was. So with that, I do want to share the idea that, hey, with the power of God, what can't you achieve? What can't you put together? And incorporate that higher power into your business world. Now I want to go over some ideas on the manifestation process, and probably the key thing is reasons why you want to manifest something. And I work with only 3 reasons. And the first reason I want to manifest something is so I can assist others. Second thing, if it makes me assist others easily, if it helps me to assist others, then I'll manifest it. Third reason, if I just plain like it. And if I like it with the knowing that if nobody ever knew that I owned it, it's okay. Because if it's contingent on everybody knowing I own it, then it becomes ego. But if I just want something because I want something, it's okay. You're deserving of that. One of the things I manifest was a catamaran sailboat because we like to sail. And because we have the catamaran sailboat, I can take others sailing. And that's okay. So there's 3 reasons why. And the first is first one is to assist others. Second one is if it helps you to assist more people. Third thing, if you just plain love it, like it, want it, and nobody knows you have it, it's okay. In the manifestation process, and you probably heard this before, it's really common, and that is you see the end result, and you focus on the end result. In working with the Crystal Bay Hotel, I kept seeing it done. I had to see everything done. In working with patients, even if it's a physical issue, I see them whole, pure, perfect. I see them in the likeness and image of God. I see them I just see the perfection in everything. And that is the ultimate prayer for anyone. But in dealing with the hotel, I saw it completed. I had to hold that level of consciousness. If you want something, you have to hold that level of consciousness in thought, because every thought is a prayer. And you have to speak as if it's already done, because everything you say is a command. And you have to write as if it's done, because that's a contract to the universe. And nothing excites the universe more than action. So when you take action in the direction of what you wanted to manifest, things begin to happen. One of the things in the manifestation process I learned a long time ago is you take time out of the equation. The universe will deliver it at the perfect moment, not too soon, not too late. And yeah, you have your own plan, but let's give up your own plan. Let's surrender to a divine plan that's greater than we can imagine. Now our ego is going to say, no, we want it now. The thing about this is when you have the knowing, like say I had the knowing that that hotel was going to be done. Not only is it going to be done, but it's going to be perfect. When you have that, you're already at peace. Now, whether it took 2 years or 2.5 years or 3 years, it didn't matter. Because it's done. It was done in God's time. Now that will drive a lot of people crazy, but it's part of the process. You surrender with the knowing that it's going to be arriving at the correct time, the perfect time. Another idea for the manifestation process is walk and act as if you know you cannot fail. You know, if you knew you could not fail, what wouldn't you try to do? What is it that you wouldn't try or attempt to do something about? You cannot fail. Well, when you have God as your partner, an infinite source, an all-knowing, how can you fail? There is no fear when you're connected to this divine power. So it's extremely powerful. And what you do is when you add your divine purpose of why you came here to this physical plane, what did you come here to do? And when that is incorporated into the manifestation process, things begin to change. Now, I have a saying that I use with all my coaching clients and anybody I'm working with in the business world. One of the things I always say is you only pick 2 things. You know, I have 2 things. I do real estate and spiritual healing, teacher of God, okay? So I have the metaphysical or spiritual side of me, and I've got the real estate. I pick 2. Somebody says, hey, Mark, why don't you buy stock? I don't do stock. I pick 2. Mark, how come you don't buy precious metals and bonds? I pick 2. How come you don't hold financing? How come you don't tear down Property Head in downtown St. Pete, where Ovation is, and put up your own high-rise? Because that isn't what I do. And what you want to do is consider that you pick 2 things. And you stick to 2 things. And then the congruency of it is what makes it all powerful. With the Crystal Bay Hotel, doing spiritual wellness and healing combined with real estate, anytime this goes up, the real estate goes up. And anytime the real estate supports the wellness and healing. So it's congruency, which is extremely powerful. When you do a positive thing for one of them, the other one benefits. So I do suggest people consider incorporating your life purpose, making it congruent with some other type of investment strategy or something. If you want to build wealth, that's how you do it. Now, I know everybody here is saying, okay, you know, it's easy for you, Mark, you know, you're an intuitive, you know what your purpose is. Well, yeah, I do. And I'm going to assist each and every one of you right now, right here, in figuring out your own purpose. In working with stage 4 cancer patients as a spiritual healer, one of the techniques I would come up with is I would ask the patient, and it depends, you know, I'll be counseling and I kind of get a feel for what numbers would work, but I would just say, hey, what if, now let me make this clear. I'm speaking to a stage 4 cancer patient, one that might have like 3 weeks to live or 3 months to live, or who cares, whatever they told them. And so what I'd say to them is, what if you won the lotto? Now, not the big lotto, but the one that pays, let's say, $15,000 a month after taxes. What are you going to do? And I'm very quiet, and I don't say a word. And I have my notepad out, and I'm ready to chart whatever they say. Because 9 times out of 10, yeah, they might say, oh, we pay off this or pay off that, but then 9 times out of 10, they would disclose to you their life purpose. And they really don't realize they're doing that. They really don't, you know, maybe not think about it. And they might say, well, you know, we'd like to help, you know, build houses in the third world country, and they name the country, and they're very specific about it. That's another thing. They're very specific about it. And what I would do is, once they get through this process, once we finish, you know, discussing it, I say these words. Well, believe it or not, you do not have to win the lotto to do what you want to do. You can do it right now. What this does from a healing mechanism is that it shifts them. The focus on them, for them, to how can I serve. When you make that shift, that emotion that's tied to it is actually healing. It's unconditional love. And so what I ask each and every one of you, why are you here? You know, if you won the lotto, freeing you up. We all think we have these financial boundaries or limits. When it gets down to it, we don't. I had a lady one day, she was sitting in front of me. Let's just say that she had a significant other relationship issue, if you get what I mean. And so she had this relationship issue with her significant other, and I threw a kind of, this particular one, I kind of threw a low number out, or a lower number than I normally would. I said, what if you, let's say you won the lotto, not the big one, but the one that pays like $4,000. And let me tell you, what happened was her husband brought her in. He's waiting out in the lobby. She's sitting back in the back counseling room with me. She's kind of like sacked out there in an easy chair, meditative state. And I'm asking her these questions. And so I said, well, you know, let's say you got $3,000 a month after taxes for the next 20 years. What are you going to do? And she looks at me. And she looks across, and she looks at the door. She looks back at me. She says, I would ask you to sneak me out the back door so I can take off, leaving him in the lobby. So the point is, it shows a lot. Another trick that I used to do with the cancer patients, because I have this theory that if they want a world cruise, let's say, hey, you just want a world cruise and the boat's leaving in 60 days and you have to be over the cancer story by then. And it also comes with, let's say, $100,000 in cash and there's 2 tickets. Who are you going to take and when are you going to go? And so what happens is 9 times out of 10, I say, well, are you going to take him? No, I want to have fun. So it does bring up a lot of things, and I ask each and every one of you, just bring that to awareness to work on the idea of your higher purpose. You don't focus on money, but you focus on what you need. And with the hotel, one of the things that's an example of this was I was looking to manifest interior doors for each one of the rooms. And if you don't know the way it works, is these are fire-rated doors. And fire-rated doors are very expensive. There's special rating and all this, and they're very, very, very expensive, and we'll only need like 66 of them at over $500, maybe $600 a piece. So it's a lot of money. And so I put out to the universe, hey, I need to fix this door issue because that's an awful lot of money. And one day I was driving along and my phone went off and I talked to the guy and the guy says, hey, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He says, I have all the doors for your hotel. And they're sitting in my warehouse. And I'm moving my warehouse to North Florida. And I'll tell you what, if you have somebody help me unload them, I'll bring them over to the hotel and help unload them for $1,000. I said, no, let me call you back. No, I said, of course, great, thank you. Also had the stairwell down at the south end was not in place. It was custom made. It was sitting in a warehouse up in Tarpon Springs. And I got a phone call from a metal fabricator, and he said, hey, you know what? I have that staircase. I'm the only one that has that staircase that will fit at your hotel. And I said, you know what? I'm the only buyer of that staircase, and so let's be fair. Let's be realistic. Let's work on this together. And he did. So the idea with the manifestation process is this. Keep an eye on the end result, not money. Everybody wants to manifest money. And the reason why is because then you can dictate to how the delivery is. But really, when you look down to it, what are you going to do with the money? Then manifest that end result. So to go over the steps, this is an overview. The first thing is surrender to the higher power. Manifest so you can serve others. See the end result as if it's already arrived. Take time out of the equation. Act as if you cannot fail. And the final one's one I want to share with you. That's one that I kind of came up with, and it's what you do is you just observe, and you pretty much say yes to everything that comes along. And the reason why you say yes to everything that comes along is because you're in harmony with the universe. And if you're in harmony with the universe, everything comes your way. The answer is yes. It can only be good, because the universe only sends good things to good people. See how it works? And so why would we say no and screw it up? So when you reach that point of awareness and you're in harmony with the universe, you pretty much say yes. Now I know each and every one of you sitting here, and you've been to seminars, you've heard stories, you've played CDs, you've heard everything about this. And you're probably saying, well, you know what, it works for you, Mark, but it doesn't work for me. I've tried it before. They've mass marketed this whole idea, and you can do it, but I probably can't do it. And blah, 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 blah. And you're right. It needs to be part of your world. If abundance isn't a part of your world, it's not part of your world. So what I always say is choose another world. Choose a world in which abundance is there. Choose a world that everything you need just appears. And there are worlds like that. But you have to choose it. And I know you're all sitting there and somebody's saying, well, I tried that even and it didn't work. Here's what I want to share with you. More times than not, often tribal members have invoked ideas, curses, what I call them, where they give you these ideas of false beliefs that limit and block you from moving forward with manifesting anything. Because the last thing the tribal members want to do is have you moving forward, and then they have to do something. I used to give out this seminar. It's called Abundance 101. And one of the opening things I used to promise the audience or the guests is this: that, hey, this course can make you so rich that your family members won't even like you anymore. So there's a bunch of things people say, like money's the root of all evil. No, it isn't. Greed is. Greed might be the root of all evil, but money isn't. Money's just the vehicle. Then somebody came up with this famous one: money can't buy happiness. Duh. And buying poor doesn't buy happiness. There's no correlation. Let me tell you the way happiness works. Happiness works on a choice. You first have to choose to be happy. Second, you have to declare, hey, I'm going to be happy. Third, you have to expect nothing. Expect nothing. What happens is we go on vacation, it rains every single day, and we say, oh, we didn't expect it to rain every day. We're so unhappy. It's all based on expectation. So you choose to be happy. You commit and say, no matter what happens, we're going to have a great time. I don't care. It don't matter. And then you expect nothing. So they say money can't buy happiness. Hey, you're right. And in this book, The Science of Getting Rich, they have a saying: the best thing you can be for the poor is not be poor. I always say, take it to the next level. As I say, yeah, the best you can do for the sick is not be sick. We've got to heal the healer first. And so we have to remind ourselves that we are here to experience the love, the joy, and the peace that God has for us. And so I'm going to translate that for each and every one of you, just in case you need it. And that is this: God doesn't want you to worry about anything, including money. If you remember the prayer when I remember when I was a Catholic and they used to mumble through it every Sunday, and it's give us our daily bread. It's what do we need for today. It's not what do we need for tomorrow, next week, or 401k, or kids' retirement, all the stuff. It's what do we need. Give us our daily bread. The other thing that I want to point out to each and every one of you is the idea that it says give us. It's a command of the universe. It didn't say, hey, can we have our daily bread? It didn't say that. It says give us. It's commanding to the universe what we justly deserve, our inheritance. And when you look back at each and every one of you, for the most part, if I had to guess, you were given your daily bread. Somehow, somewhere, something appeared. The universe has always provided for you. When you look back with love and gratitude, you will become with awareness that, yes, the universe always provided for me in this life, and that will never change. We also have to remind ourselves we live in the top 10 or 5% of the world. We have a roof over our head. We have running water. We have electric, Electric. We have a car full of gas, probably. So it puts us in the top. And we have to bring awareness to it. So another idea of limiting belief. We believe there's a limited supply of money. No, it's an endless supply. If you're in business and I was in business, let's say a salesman comes to the hotel and gives us the money tonight for the room. And we take that money and we go to the grocery store and we buy food for it for the hotel. Now the grocery store pays its vendor, the people who sell it food. And the vendor pays the salesman the commission for selling the food. Let's just pretend that figure was $100. Well, we had $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $700 in sales with just $100 bill. And I never do a transaction where if they feel I'm not being fair, if they feel that I'm taking advantage of them, if they feel they don't want to do the deal, don't do the deal. It has to be a win-win or I don't need it. But everybody believes if somebody wins, somebody has to lose. That's not true. And if you ever work with negotiations and you investigate what their needs are and you parlay the negotiations to what they need, you can get a win-win. Let me give you an example. Two little girls are fighting over an orange. So mother comes up with an idea, hey, you know what? Why doesn't one person split the orange and the other girl picks which one they want? Seems fair, right? But later on, in talking to the two girls, one said, well, I just wanted the juice. And the other girl said, I just wanted the seed. So you can have not only a win-win, but a win-win with a plus for both sides. All you have to do is listen, understand, and structure the negotiation so it is a win-win. It isn't necessarily a win-lose. The other one is people believe that you can't be enlightened or have broadened awareness and have a high net worth. And I guess they got that from the Buddhist monk. If you look at the Buddhist monk, they got the robe and the bowl. Pretty simple financial plan, okay? The thing is this, if the Buddhist monk rolls up in front of the house with a Mercedes SL and gets out with the bowl to do the rice thing on the door knock, it just doesn't work. And we have to remind ourselves that in the past, the church and the congregation would have to support the religious leader or the guru. We wonder why the Catholic priests cannot be married and have families. Well, because we all know they would have big families. Well, if they had big families, then the church would have to support big families. So a lot of rules were placed with the idea that no, you can't have a high net worth and a broad awareness. And that's an illusion. That's their world. Choose a world in which you can. You certainly can. There's no correlation. And here's the difference, and here's the reason why, is if all those possessions you can hand over freely, it no longer possesses you. So a lot of people like to say that, hey, I'd rather have enlightenment or broaden awareness than wealth. And that's your world. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret that you can have a high net worth and you can have broad awareness. And I'm going to share with you an idea, something that I've never shared with publicly. I've shared it with all my clients and coaching clients, all the patients. Fairly new technology for me in sharing it with them. I've never shared it publicly, but I was told that this would be the place to do it, that this is the crowd that I should share it with, so I will. And here's the idea. For all you Course in Miracles readers, for all you looking to enter the kingdom, looking for the heaven on earth, here's the idea. In the kingdom, there's no lack. There's actually abundance. And this statement is really powerful. And it's worth the price of admission alone. If you're gonna, pay attention to anything of this evening, this is one thing. And that is this: abundance is based on your intention, and your level of execution of services to others. So when your intention is to serve more people, and you've entered the kingdom, and it's that heaven on earth, and you've taken action to serve a lot of people, you get a lot of things. They give you everything you need to serve more people. Here's some ideas. When you're in that kingdom, you're observing any opportunity to serve. That's kind of your mantra. You're looking around, what can I do? What can I do to this situation to make it a little bit better? What can I do to help somebody else? What can I do to give somebody a leg up? You're also fulfilling your life purpose. Whatever you came here to do, you're doing it because you're in the kingdom. And with that, you end up being an expression of that higher power, which is unconditional love. So what happens is this: you're receiving the unconditional love from Source, and you're sharing it with everyone and everything. And here's the aha. And this is pretty powerful. When you are in the kingdom, in that heavenly state, you ask for nothing. No thing. Because if you think about it, the all-knowing God, that all-knowing consciousness already knows what you need, already knows what you want and desire. And not only that, at that level of consciousness, you're given things greater than you can ever imagine. You don't have to worry. You sit back and you observe and you watch for the delivery and you say yes to everything that comes along. in this heavenly state with the intention, the execution of your sole purpose, not only will everything come your way, but it will be greater than you ever imagined. And when you look back at your own life, and you see everything that happened to you in this life, and you see it with love and gratitude, and you see every single thing that happened has happened for the better. Why do you think that will ever change? God doesn't play favorites. God didn't say, I'm going to give you this and give you that. You know, one thing I always remind myself is God did not give Jesus anything he didn't give me. You know, if you think about the prayer the Catholics mumble through, and I can say that because I'm a former Catholic recovering, and it's our Father. You know, Jesus was saying, he says, our Father. He didn't say my Father. And if it's an all-loving God, God doesn't play favorites, so everything he would give Jesus, or Jesus claimed, Jesus commanded it, because it was due to him, is there for each and every one of us. So here's some ideas to assist you into getting in that state, that heavenly state. And, you know, I do this with patients. They come in and I say, well, you know, this physical plane that you see, you know, this earth, whatever you want to call this universe, is it heaven, is it hell, or a little bit of both? And I yet to have the person who comes in front of me with a physical condition like stage 4 cancer and tell me that it's a heavenly state. Because if it was a heavenly state, cancer doesn't exist. And there is a world right here on this physical plane where lack, abundance, chaos, disease does not exist. So I thought I'd share some ideas with you so that you too, if you're not already, can enter this heavenly state. And it's right here on this physical plane. One of the things I do with the patients and clients when we go over this point is I say, well, let's take a roll call, okay? Is God here? Oh yeah, God's everywhere. Well, let's say you're Christian and you turn to Jesus. Would Jesus be here? Oh yeah, Jesus would be here. How about the angels? Oh yeah, we do angels. Yeah, angels are here. How about loved ones in spirit? Oh yeah, we sense, you know, everybody who's passed on. I stop and look and say, sounds like heaven to me. Everybody's here. And so with that, here's some ideas. And the first thing about entering the kingdom is you need to make a conscious choice. And that conscious choice is to see good, to see perfection, to see the heaven on earth, see the truth, have the knowing. And with that, you receive unconditional love from the source. So often I have people, a lot of females, that are in a relationship issue, and what happened was they made the guy, the significant other, the God. And when the relationship gets rocky, they start losing their God. And they make that person the provider and the security and the protector and everything, and it only caused them harm. So for each and every one of us that would like to enter the kingdom, if you're not already, is to go to the source and receive unconditional love from source and be worthy to receive it. The other thing is really powerful, and I do this with a lot of patients lately, and that's letting go of the past. And I say this statement, I say this to each and every one of you: if you did not have any past, who exactly would you be? And the answer is quite clearly, you will be your true self. And let me tell you, when you are in the kingdom, the true self must be present. It's the way it works. Also, when you let go of the past, that childlike state emerges. That awe, that innocence. When you live in the kingdom, you don't have to worry about protecting yourself and everything else. It's not needed. It's a heavenly state where only good can occur. The other one's a tough one. It's challenging. And that's suspend all judgment. And the reason why is you can't judge. Only the all-knowing can judge. You're not all-knowing, so you can't judge. And if you don't judge, it allows you to love it because it's already perfect. And your ego is going to say, well, I can improve it. And the ego is wrong. You cannot improve perfection. So judgment doesn't work in the kingdom. And I'll let you in on a secret. If you're ever in the kingdom and there's something you dislike, here's what happened. You just left the kingdom. Get back in. The way you get back in, there's two ways, or two easy ways to overcome something you don't like. One thing, and this becomes a mantra, is it could be worse. So no matter what happens, you're on vacation and it rains every day. What could be worse? You could be at work and it rains every day. No, it could be snowing. Or you could be homeless, standing out on the street in the rain. So it can be a lot worse. The other thing is, if you knew their story, you would just love them. So the guy who drives like a maniac flying through all the lanes, you don't realize that whatever's going on, he needs to get to a job, and his GPS took him to the wrong place, or there's a wrong thing, and we don't need to know. We just have to love them. So, suspend all judgment. One of the things is be indifferent of the good opinion of the tribe. And one test that I use with each and every one of my patients is this. A two-part question. Does God have a problem with you? And no, God doesn't have a problem with you. Do you have a problem with you? Now, if the answer is no and no, there's no problem. It's that simple. If they say God has a problem with me, I say, how can God have a problem with you? You didn't do one thing that God didn't know you were going to do. You said God was all-knowing. God knew you were going to do it. In fact, it's according to God's plan. God already forgave you. So how can God have a problem with you? So you have a problem with you. So forgive yourself. Let's move on. Nobody else has a problem. So it's a two-part question. One is, does God have a problem with me? No. Do I have a problem with me? No. No problem. Now the tribal members are going to want to judge you and have a problem. That's their problem. So, we have to remind ourselves, we can manifest, we can put things out to the universe, we can expect it to arrive, we can have the knowing, we can see the end result, and it will appear. And then at some day, through broadened awareness, through transcendence, through some ideas of entering into that kingdom, that heavenly state, you reach a point where I no longer need to ask for anything. All I need to do is observe, how can I serve? How can I serve more people? With the knowing that every single thing you need and then some will appear. And not only will it appear, but it will be greater. Greater than you ever imagined.